Federal Drive is presented by GEHA, Government Employees Health Association, proudly providing health and dental benefits to federal employees and their families. Visit GEHA.com.
Federal insurance open season isn't until November. But today is National Insurance Awareness Day, and it's a great day to take inventory of your insurance coverage and start planning ahead. Here with practical tips and considerations is the Director of Marketing and Fundraising for Consumers Checkbook, Kevin Moss. Kevin, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Terry, for having me.
It's National Insurance Awareness Day. So, federal employees have lots of options about insurance in lots of different categories. What are the most common questions you get from feds about insurance?
I'd like to answer that two different ways. One, for active employees, really the question that I get all the time is which FEHB plan is the best? And the answer is there isn't just one that's the best. It's an individual choice, and there's a lot of things that go into account for that. So one is access to providers. Which health plan has a provider network that works best for you, that has the providers that you're looking to see? Two, we have to consider cost, not just the for sure cost of premium, which is really important, but also what your expected out-of-pocket costs are. And there's wide differences across all the FEHB plans in terms of which plans are least costly and which plans do the best job of balancing both those for sure costs and what you have to pay out of pocket. Then you have to consider, are there any really nuanced benefits that are important to you? And there just so happens that there's some FEHB plans that are offering things that are maybe unique into just that plan. Infertility benefits and IVF coverage is something that's come up a lot in the last few years. And there are more FEHB plans that are covering that, but there's still only a couple of the national PPO plans, for example, that are covering IVF, for example, Blue Cross Standard, GEHA High. So if that was something that was really important for you, that really helps narrow down your choices. So what I like to tell federal employees who ask me that question is I go through the steps that I think that anyone should take when thinking about that. And if you go in kind of that comprehensive view of considering all of those things, what you'll find is that starting from 30 FEHB plans, you can narrow that down to 2 or 3 FEHB plans. And then from there, do some side-by-side comparisons to see which one may be the best fit for you. So for active employees, it's, which health plan is the best choice for me. For retirees, what I get asked all the time, should I take Medicare Part B? Right? So you're getting your FEHB health benefits in retirement, and now you have the choice of whether you want to take Medicare Part B and pay that separate premium, which is $185 a month this year. And, just on the surface, why would I want to pay a second premium? I'm already paying one premium. What am I getting from Medicare Part B? And the answer to that one is a lot. Depends upon which FEHB plan you have. As it turns out, some FEHB plans will eliminate out-of-pocket costs for Part B services. Your co-pays for doctors will go to zero. If the plan has a deductible, that might go to zero. And having Medicare Part B also gives you access to all providers that accept Medicare. You can take that Part B benefit, go to any provider that accepts Medicare. So if you were in a health plan, an FEHB plan that maybe had a smaller provider network, now having Medicare Part B allows you to go outside of your provider network to see any provider that accepts Medicare. So, and also the other big thing about Medicare Part B is, of course, your income and whether you're subject to what are called income-related monthly adjustment amounts, or IRMA. This is the extra surcharge you have to pay if your income is above certain income thresholds.
That's a lot to consider, but I guess it kind of boils down to it depends.
Yeah, I know that some people may not like hearing that it depends and that there's still homework, but as it turns out, there are. But there's resources out there to help you. First of all, Federal News Network, I think, does a great job of giving you all the benefit information that you need during open season throughout the year. OPM themselves have plan comparison tools and lots of other information that are on their website. Talk about NARF and that organization, membership organization, besides their advocacy work, is doing a lot of benefit education. And then Consumers Checkbook, we publish Checkbook's Guide to Health Plans, which many federal agencies have access to, where we're trying to help people with this plan selection as well.
I'm speaking with Kevin Moss. He's the Director of Marketing and Fundraising for Consumers Checkbook. So you just talked about a lot of things to consider. It's only June. It's not open season. Why is it important that federal employees start now to review their insurance coverage instead of waiting until November?
Yeah, I think that this is something that should be kind of in the back of your mind all the time. One is, well, we're halfway through the year, and now you can maybe take an inventory of, well, what healthcare events have you had in the first 6 months of the year? And based on that, maybe you're in a health plan that has broad coverage, that has a high premium, and maybe you're not using a lot of the benefits. And maybe it's an opportunity to reconsider whether your current plan is still the right plan for you. Most federal employees don't switch their health plan. Only about 5% every year switch their health plan. There's a lot of just inertia of keeping what you have and keeping what you know. And the way that you pay a premium sometimes is disguised a little bit. It's different. You're not paying cash for this. You know, when we pay cash for something in our mind, that feels different than something that's happening maybe in a payroll event where, you know, you don't even really kind of see the money go out of your paycheck because it's happening actually, pre-tax. So you could have been in a plan for many, many years, and the premiums have been going up, especially the last 3 years. We've had like 8%, 7%, and last year a 13.5% average enrollee increased share of premium. And that adds up over time. And if you're in a plan that's offering broad benefits and maybe you're not using as much, there are probably some lower cost plans that are eligible for. And while you can't make an active choice right now to switch that plan unless you have a qualifying life event, this may be a time to think about, are there some other plans that have a lower premium and still offer the protection that you're looking for? And maybe that's something that you want to exercise during open season, is switching to a lower cost plan.
That's a really great reminder, because healthcare inflation is so much higher than regular inflation. And if you're not noticing the payments sort of being automatically deducted, it really could have been a significant expense increase all the way along. And also, of course, if you have children are, growing up, changing healthcare needs, maybe you don't need to cover them anymore, which is always
well, you have that option until they turn 26. That's the goal, is to get those kids, out on their own. But those types of life changes are happening all the time. So folks are getting married, they're welcoming new babies. Those are qualifying life events where you are able to make a switch outside of open season. But there's other things in terms of just even thinking ahead next year. Maybe you know that you are going to have a child next year, and maybe you're going to look in open season to try to find a plan that has free maternity care. That may be a different plan than the plan that you're in right now, and you can take this time right now to start researching what those plans might be.
Or you might need to cover orthodontia. That's a different program.
You might need to cover orthodontia, which is a very hard benefit to find from any FEHB plan. The best you can do in FEHB is probably finding a plan that offers discounts for those types of services. But the Fed VIP program is available to you, and all the Fed VIP plans do cover orthodontia. However, do expect to still pay a lot of out-of-pocket, right? So most of those plans, you're paying 50% of the total cost, plus you're paying that Fed VIP premium. And with the Fed VIP premium, the government employee is paying the entire share of it. There is no government share towards the Fed VIP premium. So you're paying the whole thing. And orthodontia is one of the areas where the financial payoff of taking that Fed VIP insurance is worth it. There's other cases, I've met federal employees who are taking it and they're just using preventative dental care. In those cases, actually, it may not be paying off for you because you're paying that separate premium. And yes, your preventative care is being taken care of, but there are some FEHB plans that do provide preventative care benefits where you're not paying a separate premium for those. So whether or not Fed VIP is the right choice for you, a lot of it depends upon your usage, how much you're going to use of that particular health plan. Orthodontia for sure is one of those services where if you need that, going into a Fed VIP plan will be worth it for you. And one final thing on Fed VIP. access to providers, access to providers, access to providers. Do not enroll in a Fed VIP plan unless you know that your current dentist or orthodontist is going to be in network. That's a really important thing to make sure that you're paying attention to.
One more reason to do summer homework on your plans. So as we come into open season this fall, what are you looking ahead for?
Well, I think the big story every year is, of course, what's happening with premiums. All right. So the last 3 years have been probably the highest 3-year range of average enrollee increase that we've seen, really, in modern times. And what will be interesting is in other areas of the economy, we've seen inflation kind of slow down. But health insurance particularly has been increasing higher than just the normal core inflation. So what's this going to be like for next year? We won't know that story until September, but we'll be paying close attention to that one. In terms of other things that we know about, we know that some of the things that people were fearing might happen in terms of what the House and Senate were going to do aren't going to happen. So one of the things that was coming up early in the year when Congress was thinking about federal deficit programs was changing the government contribution to the share of premium into a voucher, and that the voucher was going to be this fixed amount. And because health insurance premiums have been rising higher than inflation, what that would eventually mean for the federal government is that the contribution that they put towards the premium would be falling lower than what they're providing right now, which is up to 75% of the premium. That is not in the One Big Beautiful Bill. That did not make it in, so the government contribution is going to stay the same. One thing that is in the One Big Beautiful Bill, which may slightly impact federal employees, is eligible family member verification. So agencies now have to audit all of their employees' family members. And this is to prevent fraud, waste, and abuse. For ineligible family members on FEHB plans, the GAO a couple of years ago projected somewhere around $1 billion a year that's being spent by the FEHB program on ineligible family members. So you may be asked to verify your family members by providing a marriage certificate or a birth certificate. And so that's coming. Gender-affirming care is going to change quite a bit for next year. There were 2 executive orders at the beginning of the year that President Trump signed. And the impact to FEHB is that individuals below 19 will no longer have any gender-affirming care benefits, and OPM is no longer requiring gender-affirming care for individuals are 19 or above. So we'll just have to see what plans do in terms of perhaps changing that benefit for individuals 19 or above. And then one last thing. Preventative care, the CDC has changed their sort of recommended immunization schedule for COVID-19 vaccination for pregnant women. We don't know yet how this may impact FEHB or OPM. This will be one to watch to see if there's any changes there.
Been speaking with Kevin Moss, the Director of Marketing and Fundraising for Consumers Checkbook. Kevin, thank you. This has been so illuminating. And happy National Insurance Awareness Day.
Happy National Insurance Awareness Day to all who celebrate.
We'll post this interview at federalnewsnetwork.com/Federal Drive. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.